Warmest welcome everyone to the Business and Dreams podcast. I'm so happy that you're listening today because we have an incredible guest with us today. So Frida Hvenmark, big applause to you, I was gonna say.
Hey.
But yeah, I'm just so happy that you're a guest in this podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here.
Yes, so much fun. I can't wait to talk about so many different topics today. I'm so excited. And you are part of our Money Mindset program, Business and Dreams Academy.
Yep.
And you've been part of Business and Dreams community, the members club as well for a long time. So yeah, I'm just so impressed by you. I don't know where to start because there's so many topics. But yeah, maybe you can share a little bit about yourself for everyone listening.
Sure, absolutely. I'm an entrepreneur, and I've always been an entrepreneur, and I've always had my own business, but in different lines of professionalism, so to say. And I joined Business and Dreams because I really liked how you talk to the female community.
Wow.
And at first I was a little bit shy, so I was like, I was in the community, but I was on the outside looking in and looking at what was going on. And it took me actually a couple of years until I dared to join one of your retreats.
Yes, I remember that.
And
so much fun.
something really shifted for me there. Yeah.
What happened there during the retreat?
I felt like I had a place in this group. I really did. I felt like, yes, I belong in this community. I don't have to be on the outside, just peeking in. I can be on the inside because I'm learning things here and I'm accepted here. And I'm not an oddball, so to say. Not the weirdest person in the room all the time.
Yes, I mean, that is a huge mindset shift. I think that many people can relate to that, to going from kind of observing to actually participating.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm so happy you did that shift.
Oh, thank you. So am I. I am. I'm really, and I think that's also something that I've been struggling with most of my life, a sense of belonging. And I've often felt like, okay, so I want to be here. I want to be the cool girl, or I want to be the sporty girl, or whatever I want to be. But I haven't felt comfortable in the group. But here I feel comfortable. Almost all the time.
Yes. I'm so happy to hear that. And then in the end of August this year, you made this big decision to join Business and Dreams Academy.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about where you were in your journey when you entered and maybe some thoughts around that decision?
Absolutely. I had this business idea and I actually got it almost 5 years ago. And I tried to start it, and I went through a lot of courses, like sell your online course before you built it. And I had some mentors, and they all focused on the how to build a business, how to come across, how. And I had the why within me because I knew why because of my own experience, but I didn't know how to connect them. And I've had a love for money, but a fear for money. So when you presented this idea, I was like, okay, maybe this is it. This is the one. This is the time where the how and the why will be connected, and I will actually move forward instead of standing still and trying to create this professional thing in my head, but never present it to the world.
Yeah. I love that. And what you said there is so interesting, to have this simultaneously, this love and fear for money.
Yeah.
I think that, again, many people can relate to that. Very, very interesting. And you mentioned a bit about the idea that you had for some years. Could you tell us a little bit more about your idea?
Absolutely. Sure. I am now a woman that has a business for promoting health and wellness for women 40 plus, which is based on my experience of turning 40 and what actually happened, and my unknowledge on what was actually going on. And it made me really sad to realize that if I was when I was in my 30s, if I had known so much more, I would have treated myself so much more differently. And then I would have felt better about myself and my body. Because there's only one thing actually that I have to live with forever and ever until I die, and that's myself. Yeah. And I have to be comfortable and feel strong and feel powerful and be happy within myself. Yeah. And I think that there's a big lack of acknowledgement actually, according to the latest science also on what actually goes on in the female body. Yeah. And women's health has always been unprioritized. Yeah. We have been set aside, and we still are. And I think a lot of that is craziness, because 50% of the global population is women. And I think that I really have something to say. I've learned something, and I want to share that. I want to put like an eye on what's actually going on, so that we can shift it for our mothers, for our sisters, for ourselves, and for our daughters.
I mean, you're doing such an important work there, and we really need to spread this information more, because as you said, I don't think that many women know how they can take care of their bodies in the best way. And I'm so curious, you mentioned that if you knew certain things in your 30s, you would, have a different 40s perhaps. Yeah. So maybe you can share some few things you have learned that maybe many women don't know about.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I didn't know that you statistically hit perimenopause when you are 42. For me, menopause was this old, saggy, sweaty woman having hot flashes. That was menopause for me. And I thought I would have gray hair and be so much further along in my life. I didn't, so therefore I didn't understand what happened to me when I didn't recognize myself. I could see that it was me in the mirror, but I couldn't feel it inside. I got very sad, and I started to forget things, and many things that we tend to put in like the lane of, you have been working too hard, you're about to hit the wall, you have to take care of yourself, you have to rest. But the rest doesn't really work. And if I had known in my 30s how important it was for me to build muscle, because hitting perimenopause, the female body starts to break down your muscles. If I had known that in my 30s, I mean, I wouldn't become a bodybuilder, but I would have focused much more on weight training and strength training. And then it probably would have been a lot easier for me.
So important.
Yeah, it is. It is. The focus on proteins and the muscles rather than I'm gaining weight and why. And when I was 22, I went to this diet, and then I lost X amount of kilos. And now I do try that again, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. Why? Okay, so I'm harder on myself. I'm stricter on myself, but I just keep on feeling like I'm gaining weight. And that is because your lack of muscles. So whatever you put in your body when you're on a low calorie diet, the body just saves. So it doesn't work. The things that had worked before didn't work now, and I couldn't understand why.
So important. So your advice here is really to embrace strength training, resistance training for all of our female listeners.
Yes.
And male, of course, also. That's really good.
Definitely. Weight training, heavy lifting is really, really important. And it's also important because when we grow older, I mean, women tend to be older than men. That's a fact. Yeah. So we need the muscles to be able to stand up and sit down without help, to walk upstairs. Every one of us want to be independent. We want to buy our own groceries, carry them home. We want to make our own food. We want to be able to put things in the dishwasher and put them up in the cupboards. We want to be able to move, and for that we need a strong bone structure, but we also need muscle.
Yeah. Oh, I think this is so refreshing. I feel that there is so much focus on the, superficial aspects when it comes to training, to think like, oh, I want to look good, and that's amazing, of course, too. But to really think about this long-term perspective, I saw this video where they compared like moves in the gym with actually, physical things you do in your home when you're older. Like, okay, squats, you're picking up something, and, all these kinds of moves. And I just love longevity myself, and to think about how we can improve ourselves and our health in the long term. So I was wondering, have you seen that Blue Zones documentary on Netflix?
No, because
I love that one.
I'm going to see it with two of my girlfriends.
Oh,
so
really?
we have to either make
that.
the time where we are going to sit together and see it, because I really want to see it. I think it's so interesting. Or when we actually turn on the film simultaneously from each other's homes. So we just have to make the time for it.
So nice.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, it's amazing. And what you said here about women being, older than men, it's just so fascinating in that documentary, where you can see people in the 90s and 100s are very active. And that just gives a whole other perspective. Like, that is what I'm aiming for. Not these quick fixes, but rather to be strong and mobile when I'm in that age.
Yeah.
So I love what you do here. It's so important.
Yeah, and someone I really look up to is my grandmother on my mother's side.
Beautiful.
She turned 100 years in March last year.
Amazing.
Yeah, and she lives on her own. Now she's a bit forgetful, which is okay when you're 100 years old. But she still makes her own food and she takes care of herself. So I buy her groceries. But I mean, on Christmas, she goes up on this little ladder and she changes all the curtains and she does things for herself because she has been moving her whole life. Yeah. And then on my mother, I love my mother, but she went to... as soon as we were old enough to go to school, she went to an office. She has been sitting down. She has been doing a lot of work, great work for herself and for her family. But she has been sitting down and she has so much more aches and pains, and it's harder for her to stand up, to walk. She has problem with her knees and with her hips. So I have two women in my own family on the same side of the family that have lived the same lives, but so differently. And I want to be like my grandmother.
Beautiful to have such a role model to look up to.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. I mean, this is so inspiring to hear, and you're sharing so much valuable information already. So thank you for that. And I'm so curious also now, because you mentioned a little bit about the money mindset in the beginning.
Yeah.
And something we hear quite often is that, I found my passion or my purpose, but I don't know how I can actually charge for that and, live on it, kind of like that.
Yeah.
And that is something we work on in this program, Business and Dreams Academy.
Yeah.
So maybe you can share your thoughts on charging what you're worth while working with your passion and or purpose.
Absolutely, yes. I've always had a love for money, but I felt a bit shame for that because that's nothing that you say, oh, I love money. Well, now I can say it, but I've always loved what money can do for me and for my family and for my friends and for my environment. So I've had the love for it, but it's also a bit shameful. So I don't want to ask for it. It's uncomfortable. And then what I did before Business and Dreams Academy, I would look at, okay, this business is kind of like mine. What does she charge? He charge? They charge? So that's like, okay, but they have been working longer than I. Then I have to charge less. And I want a lot of customers. So I should put myself in the low range in the beginning and then raise my prices. But what I'm actually doing is underselling myself. I'm underselling my value and my worth and the things I have to say. Because I'm not charging accordingly to what I have to say.
Exactly.
And that was hard. And that was also connected to me with one of the themes that you had when you talked about being a rich giver and a poor giver.
Yes.
I realized what a terrible poor giver I have been. That I'm working for someone else. I'm giving stuff away for free.
Do you want to maybe explain a little bit about the poor giver versus the rich giver for those of you who don't know, the listeners who don't know?
Well, the poor giver, the one that I've been for a very long time, is kind of a people pleaser in a way. that want to please other people, that want to help other people, and probably has a good sense of value, or I have something to share with you, and I want to help you, so I give it to you. I give it away for free. No matter if you actually want it, you may not even want it, but I'm going to give it to you because I'm such a kind person. I really want to help you. Versus the rich giver, which is also giving, but also receiving back in terms of money, but also in terms of self-worth, I would say.
I love that. Such a good summary of it. And you feel that you turn a bit from being the broke giver to a rich giver.
Oh, definitely.
So happy to hear that.
Definitely.
What were the biggest shifts in becoming a rich giver for you?
Understanding that I had been a poor giver, and understanding why, and understanding that I'm not bringing anything actually to the table if I just throw it out there.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't know who told me this. Someone said, it's like if you're having a wedding or you're having a party, and you have been told to invite all of your family. And you know that some aunts and uncles, they live in some different cities. And you know the cities, but you don't know the address. So what you do is you fill up an airplane with invitations, and you fly over those cities, and you just spread them out and hope for them to get the invitation and come.
Interesting.
Rather than finding out the right address and have the mail delivered directly to them. And I think that's the way I think about it. And that has really shifted. I need the address. I know what to deliver, and now I need the address. And if I have the address, then I will deliver one letter. I will not throw out 100,000 letters to people that doesn't even want them.
That is such a great analogy.
Yeah.
Really, really powerful. To not spread yourself thin in that way and hope that the right people find you. But rather to be very determined, like I will find the right people. You know, that is so, so good. And I think that many people can relate to being a broke giver as well. So, you know, when we talked about, I remember being a giver in the program, many of you were like, oh, I've been such a giver my whole life. You know, I can't give more. I want to get back some things now. I'm tired just giving. And that is the interesting part, that there is actually this distinction of being a broke giver and a rich giver. And there is this professor, Adam Grant, who's done studies that givers are both the least successful and the most successful. And that depends whether you are a broke giver or a rich giver. So it's so important to understand, like, am I a broke giver, rich giver? And there's simple ways you can actually become that rich giver, to not, for example, undercharge, as you mentioned, and also to share value that doesn't cost you too much, or that you fill your own cup too. So I'm so happy you bring this up, because I think it's so relevant for so many of us. So thank you for that. And you did such an amazing thing in this program where you actually reached your unicorn goal, which is this big goal we set for ourselves in the beginning. So congrats to that again. I mean, I think I congratulated so many times, but it's just amazing. So maybe you can share a bit about your journey from start to actually reaching your unicorn goal.
Absolutely. And then the unicorn goal for me was really a unicorn. I was excited about it, but I really didn't think that I would hit the mark within the first year. I really didn't. I couldn't see the path all the way. But then as my mind shifted, my mind shifted, and my feelings towards myself shifted. When I got a sense of a core value, I started to do things, and I started to have assumptions and expectations on what I would receive. It didn't always match, but then I got something else. So I didn't even realize on my path, on the journey, that I hit the mark before the course ended. And I was so surprised. I had to, because it's a money thing in many ways. It's a mind thing also, shifting and all that. But the thing that you can really measure is the cash.
Exactly.
So I had to look at the bank account 10 times to really understand. And then I was like, okay, it's not going to happen the month after this. But of course it had, because I've been building a strong business. I've been building it with multiple legs. So even, I mean, I love doing speeches on stage. I really, really love that. And then I lost my voice for 3 weeks. And I still managed to reach, well, then the old unicorn goal the second month after. So now I have a new one, and I have the same feeling. I don't really know if I'm going to make it. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I don't have to make that goal in 3 months. It may be within a year, and then I have to maybe revise it. I don't know. But it was so exciting for me, and I'm so happy for myself, actually. I'm proud of myself.
I am so proud of you as well. It's just amazing. And again, this goal, as you mentioned, this is a goal that is really big, and you shouldn't even know how you will accomplish it.
No, I had no idea. I was like, it's going to be impossible.
Exactly.
But I might as well try. Yeah. And I would never have done that on my own. You need the group, you need the academy, and you need the smaller groups that you have divided us in. You need the support of other people. And it doesn't even have to be in the same kind of business. We are in different businesses, but we struggled with the same things. So I don't think that I could have set the goal, but I don't think that I would have come close to it if I wasn't in the academy and if I didn't have my mastermind group.
So happy to hear that. And are you used to setting these big goals? Like, are you that kind of person who loves setting big goals? What is your history with goals before the academy?
I would say before the academy, I would have said, yes, I'm a person that sets big goals. But now, in retrospect, I would say I was a person that would actually set a donkey goal, something that I knew that I would achieve if I worked really hard. It's a safe goal. It's a big goal, and you have to kind of comply with the work hard, play hard, which I don't think is a good thing. I really like work less, earn more.
Yeah. I love that. That is replacing work hard, play hard.
Yes, that's a replacement for that.
Yeah.
So I thought in my mind that I was a big goal setter, but I really wasn't.
So interesting when you change your perspective around something.
Yeah.
So interesting. And so you had in your unicorn goal as a goal in general, to actually earn more, but also to work less.
Absolutely.
Can you share a little more about that, those thoughts around it?
Yeah, because like I said, I love money. I really do. Because money is not only roof over my head. It's not only the pillow that I sleep on and the food on the table. Money is time.
Exactly.
I buy time for money. So if I have more money, I can have more free time to do what I want, whether it's read a book or travel or be with my kids or be somewhere alone on a beach or wherever. Money is time. So I need to have more money to be able to work less. More money, work less.
Exactly.
Yes. So I have more time to live.
Exactly.
Because I only have this life. I don't know if I go on to a second life or if I have no idea. And I think if there is another life, I will not remember the one I had. So this is the one time I have. And
love that mentality.
I really want to live it. I think it's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Your positivity is really shining through. It's amazing. And I fully agree. You should make the most out of your life. It's your life. So it's so important. And I mean, when we have these conversations with women who are interested in working full time with their passion, freedom is such a big word. To have freedom over your time. So I think it's so powerful to not only think about the amount of money you want to earn, but also how many hours you want to work.
Absolutely.
Because no one wants to have this work where you start working from early morning to midnight. That wouldn't be worth the salary, even though it's high,
No,
So I love that you have that combination there. So good. And I want to talk about another topic. I don't know if you're ready for this, I was going to say. But I think that you really exude so much confidence.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about before this podcast that, you have kind of practiced being confident, and maybe especially on pictures, on social media, etc. So could you share maybe some thoughts around confidence, and maybe specifically about, being in the center of attention, like in this podcast, for example, you're just posting pictures of yourself on social media.
Yeah.
Could you share how we can practice that muscle kind of to be more confident?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know. This may have been somebody in the academy that said this, but I really loved this thing. And I did kind of a version of it. If I am my own brand, we all are our own brands right now because of social media. If I want to do something with my own brand, I have to be visible. Because I am not only presenting a service or a product, I am presenting me. Me as a person, I am my personal brand. It's not the logo, it's not the company. So I have to be seen. And I am uncomfortable. And I am the biggest critic in my life also. Oh no, my nose is too wide. I look chubby, whatever. I have a bad hair day. I have all these excuses and I think I look funny. I don't look the way I feel on pictures. I always felt like that and I've been uncomfortable in front of the camera. So someone told me this a long time ago actually, and it may have been brought up in the academy also, to put up your phone and film yourself, press record for 30 days every day. Don't look at it. Just film yourself talking to the camera. And then after 30 days, you look at the first recording and the last. You don't even look at the ones in between. And then you can see how much more comfortable you are in front of the camera. So I would say practice, 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 practice. And then sometimes go out of your comfort zone and post the one that you think is not the perfect picture and see what happens. Because in all kind of businesses, we have to look at the stats. I am presenting this, it's giving me this. Okay, so I'm marketing this. I have 2 options of marketing. Which one is successful and why? Okay, this one is successful, then I will replicate that. And it's the same thing. Okay, what hits my targeted audience? Is it pictures of me when I am picture perfect, or is it when I'm just the person that I am? And often you get so much more comments or DMs or attention from being an authentic person. And we are not perfect every day. I wish I was, but I'm not. And we don't feel perfect every day. And that's okay. It's okay to have flaws. Yeah.
So many great advice here.
Yeah.
And I love that exercise with filming yourself for 30 days. So did you do that exercise?
Yeah, I did. I actually did that a long time ago.
How was it to compare day 1 compared to day 30?
I would say I was so much more calm on day 30 than I was on day 1. And on day 1, I was like a deer in a headlight, kind of like this. Okay, so I'm just going to say, hey, I'm Frida and I am really good. Or I was all over the place. And then I had done it so many times that it was like, okay, so now I'm going to sit down and I'm looking at myself and saying, hey, Frida, you look beautiful today. You're an awesome star. And that's about it. And then I realized that it doesn't really matter. Sometimes I'm a deer in a headlights, but most of the times I'm calm with it because it doesn't really matter. You will not buy my service because my nose is thinner.
Exactly.
Or I have a perfect hair day.
Exactly.
It doesn't hit the target. And I think we all know that. But we have also been fed since we were tiny how to look, how to present yourself, and also to be the good girl. And please sit down and shut up. Stay in the corner. Don't make people be aware of you. Be kind, be gentle, be helpful. But don't be in the center of attention. Don't ask for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so powerful.
Yeah, and it's such double standards. It is. So to get out of that, I think the only way is to understand, okay, maybe why am I so uncomfortable? Has it something to do with my looks? Well, here they are. This is what I have to play with.
Exactly. So good. So good. And I love what you shared also with, being authentic and daring to post those pictures which aren't perfect, so to speak.
Yeah.
And as you said, people love authenticity, they love real people, so to speak, and that you're not too staged. They want to connect with your authentic you. And I love what you said. You just try to post a picture that is not perfect and watch what happens. I mean, the world continues.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And it's such a fast pace also. So it doesn't really matter. And if it's in any of the social medias where you post pictures like Instagram or TikTok, it's such a fast media, so it will go down in the feed like zoop, and then it's away. And if you don't like it, then after 2 days, well, then erase it. It's not much more than that. You can always erase it afterwards if you really, really hate it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So would you say that putting yourself out there, so to speak, has helped you to reach your unicorn goal and to grow your business?
Yes, definitely. Also because if I'm authentic, the clients I receive are also authentic.
So good. I love that. I think that one exercise also we did in Business and Dreams Academy is to think about what, we always think about, so scary to start posting pictures, for example. We think about the things that could happen if we actually started doing something. But then imagine if you're not changing anything and you're not, for example, in this case, posting on social media, what are you missing out on?
Yeah.
And it could be as you have reached now your dream income and working less, and maybe you wouldn't have done that in that extent, at least, if you hadn't started, putting yourself out there more. So it's so important to think about what is like the alternative cost of not doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
So powerful. And I think that all of your listeners, you should really embrace this mindset and really, daring to put yourself out there, even though you don't think that you are perfect, because no one of us are perfect.
Yeah.
So let's skip that.
Yeah, let's skip that. Just bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. And you had this thing, and I actually think you put it on Business and Dreams first, where you would go on a street and you would lie down on the street and see what happened. Yeah. And that's also an advice that I can give. If you're uncomfortable with being in the camera, think of something that is even more uncomfortable and start doing that. Because if you dare to do that, then you dare to practice to be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went into a department store. They play music, right? Yeah.
I'm so curious to hear this. Oh my God.
At the center of NK,
yeah,
they play music all the time. And I started to sing along really loud. I just sang the song. I think it was something with Pink. And I just stood there and I just sang it out loud in a winter coat. And I felt so uncomfortable and I was hot red in my face. And people looked at me like, oh, God, send her to the loony place. Where is the ambulance? We need a psych award here or something. Straight jacket.
That is amazing.
And then when I left, I felt like, okay, if I could do that, I can set myself in front of my own phone, filming myself, not sharing it with everyone for 30 days and then see what happens.
That is so good.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I love how you put stuff in perspective. When you did this exercise and then filming yourself in 30 days didn't feel that dramatic.
No.
That is so good. And I'm so curious, did anyone ask you or like approach you or anything when you did that?
Yes.
They did?
The guard.
Oh, the guard?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
What did the guard say?
The guard said, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Yes. And I said, yes, I'm just challenging myself. And then he actually said, well, then go for it. And then he stepped back maybe 2 or 3 meters. So he was watching me to see if I was a crazy person, if I pulled out a gun or a knife, or if I just went woohoo all over the place. But I just stood there for a couple of minutes and it felt like I was there for an hour, but I wasn't. So it was actually a quick in and out. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I mean, I have the same experience when we did this comfort zone challenges, and we just laid straight on the ground for 1 or 2 minutes. I mean, we have done it so many times, and the only time someone actually approached us and said something, that was a guard as well, asking, "Are you okay?" So that's the funny thing. You think that when you do something like that, you know, when you go outside your comfort zone, that everyone will be like, "Oh yeah, what's happening?" But no one really cares.
No.
And that could be some people. I remember DM doesn't say like, that's kind of depressing that people aren't, you know, what if you were ill and you were laying there and no one helped you? So it's of course that perspective, but also a very liberating perspective that people just kind of care about themselves and they don't care that much about you. So when you post on social media, for example, people just scroll by, you know, it's not that the world freezes and be like, oh my God, Vendela or Frida just posted Aftonbladet, Expressen. You know, people just
stop everything.
So that's a good reminder, I think.
Yeah,
very liberating.
and there's actually research that says that if there's more people, if it's a crowded place, less people will help.
Right, the bystander effect, I think it's called.
Yes,
right?
thank
so
you.
Interesting.
Yes, and that is interesting. So then maybe go for the biggest scenario you can imagine, because then most likely nobody will react. Don't go into a small place with a few people with them, because then maybe more people will approach you.
That's really good. So go big from start.
Yes.
Love that. And I'm so curious, can you share a little bit more from the journey in Business and Dreams Academy? Maybe some insight or something that has stood out for you in some way?
Absolutely. For me, it's been, I think it feels like I've been in the academy for a long time, but it really isn't. And that is because it has been so emotional. Some days after the lessons, I have felt sad, really sad. Mostly because I've understood how bad I've treated myself. And I think the biggest lesson for me, my biggest insight, is that I am not the person I am today because of what has happened to me, the traumas and the stuff that I have been through. I am the person I am today despite of those things. And that's a really powerful thing, to understand that it's not what has happened to me, it's what I've done with it.
That is so powerful.
Yeah, and it's the biggest shift for me, because then I can also be aware and acknowledge, and I can be really, really proud of myself. And another thing that has shifted is my core sense of worth, of what I am worth.
I love that.
Not to the world, but to myself.
So good.
And I think you've done a really brilliant thing. I think you have placed it in just enough pieces of the cake each week, and in such a great order. And you can always go back, and you can always go back to the first one with the elephant and be like, oh no, I'm going in this direction, the comfort direction. That's my elephant. So do I want to keep that? Do I want to stay there, or do I want to move forward? Yeah.
So
but
good.
For me, it's an emotional change, and that's the biggest impact, because that connects the how with the why.
So happy to hear that. There's so many points I want to talk about there. But I love what you said also with understanding your worth, because we have talked about worth in a previous episode, and we got some comments there that, you know, from women who kind of didn't see their worth and didn't even feel worthy of setting these kind of big goals and dreaming of their dream life. Can you share how you found your worth and realized that you're worthy of everything you want?
I think it's not something that goes like, wow, like an aha moment. It's more over the time, over the courses, when you put all the pieces together, you receive the big cake. So it's not, for me, it's not one moment, it's little pieces. And then some lessons have had more importance than others. And then in retrospect, I can look back and say, well, the one that I thought that, well, I kind of knew this, maybe actually had a bigger impact in the end. So it's really like creating a puzzle. So I think it's hard to pick one thing.
Right.
But there's definitely pieces that I'm like, yes, this one hit the mark. The poor giver, rich giver, that hit the mark. That was big emotions for me. And then also the cars, the red cars. How many red cars have you seen today? I don't know. Okay, if I gave you 100 euros for each red car, well, I'm going to see a lot of red cars.
Right.
And when you start to look for something, you will absolutely see it. But then you have to understand how to bring value from it. If I came to you and said, I saw 10 red cars and you would pay me, that's fine, I got some value, but I got no understanding of it. So you have to really understand why you look for certain things. And then it's amazing that you actually achieve things that you never thought you would achieve. And it just comes to you. It's like, oh my God, this is a religion, it's a cult, it's a sect, let it never end. I love it. In a way. Yeah. And that is connected with the self-worth.
100%. And I love what you said there also about, to becoming another person, like to actually grow. And that is really the main, benefit of setting a big goal, that you grow into another person. That's what's so exciting with setting a goal. And of course, money and everything that you gain is an amazing bonus, but it's just such an amazing feeling to be able to grow.
Yes.
To get these insights.
Definitely. And that's the point. When we stop learn, we also stop to live.
Yeah.
So
that is so powerful.
Yeah.
And I love so many things you said here, but
you.
I am who I am, not because of what happened to me, but despite what happened to me. That really it's really good. And there's this story about two sons who have a father who is an alcoholic, and one of the sons also became an alcoholic, but the other son is not an alcoholic and lives a very successful life, a very healthy life. And then when you ask them, okay, why did you become the way you became, they both answered, with an upbringing like I had no other choice. So that is really another way of saying that you can really use your past to in whatever angle and direction you want to. So that is really good, and really to take control of your life, to not be a victim of the past, but rather to determine who do I want to be moving forward.
Definitely. And if you put yourself in the seat of being the victim, it's really, really easy to hide behind that. Yeah. So when we started the academy, I had some hesitations, and my biggest thing, the easiest thing to hide behind, was my age. Oh, here I am. Look at this wonderful group of young, prosperous women. And I am 50 years old. Oh, I'm the old fart in the room. It's not true. It's not true. But it's easy to hide behind. It's really easy to hide behind that. And I didn't understand that I was actually hiding. I thought, these are the facts. But it's not really the facts. It's just a way of, I play the victim here.
I think that so many of us have these kind of aspects that we use in a similar way. So how did you overcome that?
I think when I saw all the different businesses, the different women, what they wanted to bring to the table, I also knew that I would be safe, because I was safe in Business and Dreams. I've been safe at all the retreats, and I belong in this group. And when I saw the diversity in the big group and in my mastermind group, I had the same sense of, I am safe here. Nothing's going to happen to me. I'm not going to be bullied. I'm not going to be excluded.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
The word safe is really beautiful, and I'm so happy you feel that way.
It's a sense of belonging. And when you belong somewhere, then you also dare to be brave.
Exactly. That is so true.
Yeah.
And I think that, the support between everyone in Business and Dreams Academy, the support that you give and everyone else, it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And it's amazing to be in such a large group of women where there's no jealousy. There's only, yay, you go, girl. Wow, I'm so happy for you. And you can feel that it really comes from within, from each and every one. And that is amazing. That is really amazing. And so I really think you have created something fabulous here.
So happy to hear that. And I agree, we share these wins every week. And when someone shares a win, it's just incredible. It feels like the whole group wins.
Yes, it does.
So
it does.
And that's something we say as well, that your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference whether you are winning or someone else when you're happy. So it's really a win-win where you support and share for another person.
Yeah.
So I love that. And I know that many people can be hesitant to invest in themselves.
Yep.
It could be thoughts like, of course, money related, can I afford it? But it can also be like, am I worthy of investing in myself?
Yep.
It can be all these kinds of thoughts. What are your thoughts about investing in yourself in general? And maybe for someone who is interested in Business and Dreams Academy, what would your kind of advice around that be?
Yeah, I would go to a mirror and look myself in the face, because that is the only person I have to live with for the rest of my life. Yeah. That is the only person. In the same way that money needs to be my best friend, I cannot treat my best friend badly, poorly. I am also my best friend. I have to treat myself the way I would love to be treated. And that's the biggest thing. And yes, money is an issue. Money is always an issue, but you also have to look at the value. You have to look at what you get for the money that you invest. And all of us invest in things that you are like, the outcome was really not what I paid for, but it's done. Okay, what have I learned from this? And now we can look back on us, the first group, and say that this is a successful program. So then, if you're new, you can put your trust in that the first program was a success, the second will be, the third will be, and that you will evolve and you will change little things because you also learn along your journey. And I'm sure you pick up things from us. So it will only evolve and be better and be better and be better. So why? Why not give yourself the best opportunity you can?
So happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And I think it's, investing in yourself, it has such a return on investment, and it's hard to find other, asset classes with the same return on investment as you are showing with your journey here. And I love the question also, can you afford not investing in yourself?
Absolutely.
And I mean, now I'm kind of biased. I'm not talking about only Business and Dreams Academy, but just in general, to actually invest in yourself. I mean, I have this analogy, like look at companies. There isn't a single big company that is not investing in themselves in a way, like, for example, R&D or anything. Like all companies are investing in themselves and in future.
Absolutely.
So if you look at yourself as kind of a stock as a company, then it would be, very smart to actually invest in yourself too.
Yes.
So
because then the stock becomes solid.
Exactly.
For a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you don't want it to go up and down like this.
Yes.
You want it to be solid. You want to have a foundation that you are going to stand on, and you to let go of the worries and to let go of all the roller coasters. Then you need that. You need to create that for yourself. And investing in yourself can be so many different things. And it kind of also goes back to undercharging in one way. Because if you're undercharging and you have 100 clients, you have maybe 10 that fulfill the program, that actually do the work, that actually help themselves, invest in themselves. The other 90, they just paid it because they thought they were interested, and it wasn't really that much money. But if you invest something, I mean, it's like in anything in education, if you pay for it, if you pay a lot of money for it, well, then you show up. You are there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. I heard this, when you pay attention.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because you also feel like you deserve it. I deserve to be there. I deserve to know each and everything. I will do all my homework, and I will do actually extra things, and I will do this and I will do that.
Exactly.
Yes, because
So
I
good.
have invested in myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that really, as you mentioned, it goes back to not undercharging, because you may think that when you're undercharging, when you're charging a low price, that you do a service for another person, that you're like kind or whatever. But oftentimes it could be like, you can just think about yourself. When we get a discount or something, or we get something for free, we don't value it.
No.
So we don't put in the work. And if you want someone to transform, if you want to help someone, then you want them to put in the work and to value what you do.
Yeah.
So you're not doing need yourself or the other person a service by undercharging.
No, you're not. You're really not.
So good.
And then if you charge the right price, and then you sit there and you work less and you have more money, then you can also afford to do things actually for free for people that really, really need it.
Exactly.
But you cannot afford to do all the free stuff if you don't have the cash, the money in the bank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think you are so on point when you're saying, if you present something that will help someone, you really want them to do the work to help themselves.
100%. And that's Camilla and my experience as well, that the things we pay the most for, that's actually the things that change our lives the most as well.
Yeah.
And the things we got for free, it hasn't changed our lives. So of course it's not only about the price tag, but it's important not to undercharge. That's the point here.
It's really
Yeah.
important. And
So
then
good.
I think it's one of your affirmations, the I 10x everything.
Yes.
Yes. Because if you then do that, if you keep that and your mind shifted, well, then you know that what you paid will pay, you will get it back 10 times.
Exactly. That is my favorite affirmations for so many things.
Yeah.
Both for money that I receive myself. When I receive my salary, I think that, okay, I'm 10xing this salary.
Yep.
But also when I'm, with Business and Dreams Academy, that I want everyone to at least 10x their investment, short term or long term. So it's such a powerful affirmation, and it makes you really excited for money.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And it also makes you excited for other people.
Yes,
Because I want to
exactly.
10x their experience. Or I want to,
100%.
if you come and you join one of my programs, or you attend one of my online courses, or you see me on stage, I want you to, when you leave, I want you to have the feeling of, I got 10 times as much as I thought I would be.
Yes. As you said, it goes for my affirmations is that I 10x everything, whether it's money, my relationships, or
Yes.
my health. So it's such a powerful feeling to feel that you're growing all the time and that you're providing growth opportunities for other people. So I'm so happy you remember that affirmation. It's my favorite.
Oh, yeah, it's the first one.
Yeah.
It's the first one. The first
So
one I
happy.
do every morning.
I
Yes,
love
yes.
that.
Yeah.
So good. So, time is going by so quickly.
Yeah,
I could
it
talk about
does.
these topics forever. I'm wondering, is there anything that we haven't touched upon yet that you would like to talk about more? Maybe you can ask yourself a question. I was going to say, no, but just about, is there anything that you want to talk more about that we haven't touched upon?
Gratitude, maybe. Gratitude,
so
maybe.
good. So
Because
powerful.
it's a big topic, and it's a big issue, I think, in our lives. And I think one of the things that has also changed, I talk about my core has changed, is my sense of gratitude. I am so grateful for what I have. I am such a lucky person. I am also grateful for what will come. That thing, not only seeing where I am now, but seeing it in a bigger perspective, that I am so grateful. I really am so grateful for what is to come in my own life, in my son's life, my family life, my business life, business life. And that is a comforting feeling. And that also gives me a sense of self-worth.
I love that. Gratitude is so powerful.
It is. It really is. And I think it's sometimes we tend to forget that, and everything with the fast pace that we are going through today. So let me ask you.
Yeah.
Yes. How did you feel about gratitude, and what has happened in your long journey, Business and Dreams and the Business and Dreams Academy, have you spotted something that you didn't know before during the academy connected to being grateful?
Yes, 100%. I feel that gratitude is, the most important kind of feeling. It's the best feeling in the world. Like, it's impossible to be grateful and also resentful or angry or whatever. When you're grateful, you're just in such a bliss.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting, when you're grateful, that's when you're the most kind of powerful manifester for things that you want in your life.
Definitely.
Because there is this universal law. It's called the law of reversibility. So imagine that if I would give you your dream house now, then you would probably feel grateful.
Yeah.
But you can also reverse it, that if you're grateful for that dream house that is to come, then that dream house will come.
Yeah.
So that's why, when we're grateful, we are truly manifesting things. And I love what you said there with that you're grateful for what's to come as well. And I think that that's how you are also achieving the goals that you are doing right now, that you're grateful for what's to come. So you kind of experience it as if it were right now.
Yeah.
And I feel that just for money as well, that we kind of sometimes take money for granted. We don't think about money. We're kind of disappointed perhaps about money sometimes. We want more of it.
Yeah.
But then we think about from the day we were born to until today, money has played such a big role in helping us, as you said, providing roof over our heads and food on our tables, but also to kind of experience all the amazing things with our friends and family.
Absolutely.
So to feel gratitude for money, that is truly the way to both be happy today and to attract more of it.
Yeah.
So gratitude is the best.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I like that. I'm gonna bring that with me home. A state of bliss.
Yes.
Because it is.
It's
It
the
really
best.
is.
Yeah. Wow, Frida. I mean, so many amazing topics. I'm so curious to hear, is there any last piece of advice you would like to share for anyone listening who would like to also, as you have done, work with your passion and your purpose in life?
Yeah, I would like to say, look at your why and why your why is your why. Not only the passion, but why is it your passion?
So good.
Why is it so important to you? And then find the way to connect it with the how. Like joining the Business and Dreams Academy.
So happy to hear that. Frida, thank you so much. This has been an amazing episode, and I'm sure our listeners will be just as inspired as I am by you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yes. And thank you so much for everyone listening. We're so grateful that you're here. And make sure to connect with Frida as well. We put her links in the show notes, and we will see you next time.
Yay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.